I'm Mark Hodges, Chairman and Co-founder with EquaTerra. We are an advisory company that helps corporations decide whether to offshore or outsource or not. So we don't work with the vendors, but only with the potential buyer.
Okay, Mark, you were talking earlier about some of the new up-and-coming regions for offshoring. And I suppose a lot of the talk today has been about China. Yes. I mean, what are your clients seeing or doing? You know, a few years ago we always used to be comparing India and China, and now we realise that they're very different. But how is the market for you at the moment?
Supporting China from administrative standpoint is very important to UK and US corporations because they're buying businesses and they don't have any administrative infrastructure to do human resources and so on. So there is a need there. It's largely not being filled by the domestic Chinese market, however. It's generally global outsourcers, Indian outsourcers that have set up operations in China, or some very small captives from big companies like GE and so on that have been externalized to support that. So I don't think India is in any danger on the IT side from China, but it's probably 5 to 10 years before there's significant competition in the BPO area.
Mm-hmm. Well, something you also mentioned during your talk was about acquisitions and consolidation within on the supplier side of the market. And I guess this is something that the media tends to talk up, the fact that there's fewer and fewer suppliers, they're all being bought by each other.
Yes.
And yet you were saying that as fast as we see mergers and acquisitions, new suppliers are coming on stream.
It's remarkable when you look at the first ITO contract. It was 1988. It was IBM and EDS. But today there's more IT providers than ever before. The same is true of HR. Same is true of finance and accounting. And what our clients ask, our clients fear that their supplier is going to be bought. And what they don't realize is that if you are an outsourcing customer already, you're a very valuable asset. And when other outsourcers have gone under, like Arthur Andersen was a finance and accounting outsourcer, MCI WorldCom is a network outsourcer, that client base is a much better customer for an outsourcer than a new customer. They're more profitable, all the transition's done. So we make sure clients contractually can get out of these contracts if they want, but it's like being recruited. It's nice to be loved.
Yeah. I mean, one of the other things that's come up today, particularly in the panel discussion, was around risk and spreading risk around. I mean, is that sort of greater awareness of political risk something that you've seen? Is there a greater awareness in the market on the buy side then?
Yeah, I think the buyers, I think the context, Mark, that they think about it is disaster backup and recovery, as opposed to maybe business continuity. So if something happens, I want to know the provider can do that. It is increasing, but it's still rare where a customer of ours deliberately tries to go to a more portfolio model. The suppliers and service providers do it intentionally, and they do it well. But usually, the more global the firm, the more they realize it. So Procter & Gamble's and Unilever's realize that there's concentration risk, and they do it deliberately. So there is greater recognition, but it's still not a majority.
Okay. And I suppose one of the other things that's clearly in the media at the moment is the potential for recession. We've certainly seen this credit crunch happen last year, reducing liquidity in the financial markets. And so I suppose the unusual thing is, given the negative headlines, every supplier that I talk to tells me that business is booming. So you know, is this something, have you observed the buying process change at all?
Yes, the buying process has changed. It hasn't stopped. The buying process from Q3 '07 to probably Q2 this year, which just ended, decisions got delayed because potential buyers are fighting for survival. Am I going to be bought? Am I going to have a job? How do we do cash flow? And what's happened is it's created this latent or incipient demand that's just starting to emerge. So we see our business is much stronger this quarter, and we expect in Q4 this year than it was earlier for outsourcing transactions. We get lots of work for studies and strategy and analysis, but signing a big contract was on hold for a lot of industries.